Welcome to Your Inspired Journey. I'm Carla Andrews, and I have the pleasure of being here with Ben Eaton, who is a fantastic podcaster and, of course, a speaker who speaks all over the world and helps inspire others in regards to how they feel about themselves and their world. In addition to that, he also coaches many around the aspect of how to be a better person and, of course, of how to grow from a space of pain. Welcome, Ben. Ben, how are you?
Thank you. I'm great. That was a great intro. Thank you.
I do this professionally. So I'm loving how you're really in a space where a lot of time people do not like to touch that point in regards to pain and dealing with emotional stress. If you can dive a little bit into, first of all, who you are and how did you get to this journey? How did you get to this point of where you're serving others who are in need of someone of really looking for hope and through the pain?
Awesome. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm actually
You're
working
welcome.
to write this down into a book with bigger details. So this is fresh on my mind from this morning, working on that manuscript.
Well,
So I grew
and,
up
and
in
do
a
you
family.
have a name? Do you have a name for that book?
It's still secret. How's that?
Okay. I hear you.
however, however, I'll give you the proposed title because I do think it sounds cool. It's called "How I Came to Love Myself and Other Things You Shouldn't Be Ashamed of."
Hmm.
Yeah, hopefully that's
That's a
catchy,
good
right?
one. Yeah, it is. It's a good, catchy subtitle.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So in there, I go into depth about who I am and my story, right? So people can understand who is this guy and why is he going to teach us about emotional pain. Part of it is it might be a surprise that me of all people talks about emotions and emotional pain
Hmm.
because many of my close friends or people who just know me superficially think Ben has a picture perfect life. My goodness. He's good at everything he does. He's a leader. He's successful. He has a house, a car, and all this kind of stuff. It's like, what could be wrong with his life? And you're right. I do have a lot of good things. But I went through years of what I learned to call emotional pain or years of unresolved
Wow.
emotions, right? Do you want me to go into where that came from?
Now, I love how you mentioned that. You mentioned emotional pain, but really not dealing with the pain. If you could
Hmm.
clarify that for us.
About how I dealt with the pain?
Yes.
Sure.
Well,
And this
if you could, if you could share how, if you could explain what it is, and then how you dealt with it, that would be nice.
absolutely. So I'll start where it came from. Is that okay? And then we'll talk about how I overcame it.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
And you're good because whatever needs, feel comfortable to just be who you are and what you need to do because of course everything gets edited, so you're good.
Okay, perfect. So where did my emotional pain come from? It took me a while to discover this. I thought it was just part of life, right? How everybody was raised, and no, I don't know what's going on with me, but I have to deal with it. And because I have to deal with it alone, I feel like I'm the
Hmm.
only one who deals with it and that there must be something wrong with me because nobody else seems to be dealing with it, right? In this life of picture perfectness, I had to live up to that reputation. So again, it was even harder to reach out for help or to talk to anybody about it because that didn't make sense according to my title or my stature or my appearance, right? But I was thinking about this and I was like, you know what? I do feel this and I see it in other people's eyes. Something is holding them back.
Hmm.
Something is showing them that they don't have that confidence or belief or self love enough to do what I know that they can do, right? So I'm thinking,
Wow.
okay,
Yeah.
if I see this and I feel this, what could be done about it? So
Yes.
mine, I discovered or realized that it came from a story when I was 9 or 10 years old. I was in elementary school. We had just finished a game of dodgeball in our PE class, right? And here I was, a 9 or 10 year old boy, starting to discover that I was pretty gifted at sports. My friends were noticing that I was good at sports, and I was starting to notice that my friends were noticing that I was good at sports. See how this works? I'm starting to realize and get an identity of who I am as a 9 or 10 year old boy. But at the end of this dodgeball class, as we're going back to our normal class, my friends are
Hmm.
laughing hysterically about something. So, of course, I want to
Okay.
be involved. And I say, hey guys, what's so funny? And they look at me and they tell me to raise my arms. Okay. So I do, and they laugh even harder. And I
Wow.
looked down and I discovered that I had extremely sweaty armpits. And you might
Okay.
think, well, what's the big deal? You just finished a dodgeball game. Of course you're going to be sweaty. Well, here I was, a 9 or 10-year-old boy, not fully understanding how the body works. And it must have been a whole lot more than anybody else, because otherwise, why would my friends laugh at me? Not only did they laugh at me, but they said, oh, that's disgusting, or that's gross. And when I experienced this as a little boy, what else did I experience? I experienced scary emotions because I didn't understand them. I felt humiliated, embarrassed, scared, unsure. It's like, well, hold on here. I thought you were liking me and who I was, and now you're laughing at me. So you kind of broke apart my identity, right? Wait, who am I?
Yeah.
Am I good?
Yeah.
Am I good enough?
Yeah.
So my brain heard all these things and it started to think, wait, if they are saying that's disgusting, that's gross, it must mean I am disgusting. I am gross. And there's something wrong with me. So you see how an event, go ahead.
Yeah. No, so so instead of it being, this is a part of me, it became me.
Well worded, yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this event, even though maybe a listener thinks, well, I wasn't such a big deal, it was just gym class. It can become something that's scarring because of all those unresolved emotions. Hopefully we can all relate in some way to this experience where maybe we look down at ourselves and we think, there's something wrong with me, to the point that it stops me from achieving my dreams or being who I know I should be. Because I feel this shame and I don't want people to get to know the real me because they probably won't like it, right? So this did carry with me for 20 years. Not even my mom knew about it for 20 years because I was like, I don't want to relive those emotions. I'm not going to tell anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. You hide them away.
Exactly. It turns out that I have what's called hyperhidrosis. It's excessive sweating. Some people have it in the hands, some in the feet, some in the underarms. And it turns out that a lot more people than I thought experience this, which was very comforting to me. Because again, I thought I was the only one that did. So how this relates to my picture perfectness, right? With all these emotions that I didn't like and I didn't understand, I was like, well, if I can't get rid of them or fix them, I'm just going to hide them or ignore them. So I pushed them to the back of my brain and I said, I'm going to use a shield of success to make sure that I can't get hurt anymore. So in everything that I do, I'm going to be good at it. I'm going to be successful at sports, music, school, work, whatever, so that when people think of Ben, they think Ben is amazing. Ben is good. Ben's a leader. I definitely preferred that, right?
Yeah. It was a way for you to take the attention away from what was hurting you. So if I shine the light on this, on my success, then they won't notice this other issue that I believe that I have.
Exactly. And that goes with, because I was an HR director, so I worked with people all over the world and I saw them as we were going towards a goal, but then I would see the hesitancy in their eyes and I'm like, what's the deal? And we could spend millions of dollars on motivation and say, hoorah, let's do this. Or we could even get into discipline and say, why the heck aren't you doing it? When in reality, it's that belief or that unresolved emotion that is stopping them. So for me, who has the potential of doing a lot, and I have done a lot, if you had asked me in the past, hey, I need you to lead this team in front of an audience, I would have been like, I don't think I can do that because there's a possibility people will discover this hyperhidrosis, right? And that's an absolute no-no.
Yeah.
My boss wouldn't have known that because I'm not about to tell him, right? Well, all of these things came about and I said, all right, there's got to be a way. I was working with my therapist a number of years ago, talking to him about some other things. And I said, maybe this is my emotional pain and maybe he can help me with it. So I went to him, but I went to him very defensive. Because you got to remember, for 20 years, I was using this shield of success. And I didn't want anybody to know otherwise. But I went to him, I told him my story. And like any good therapist, he said, thank you for telling me. And I was like, wait, what? You're not going to laugh at me? You're not going to tell me I'm disgusting, I'm gross, everything else that I've heard the rest, or my entire life? More accurately, what my brain has been telling me my entire life, right? And then he did something extremely important, and this is why I do what I do. He helped me reprogram my mind and rewrite my memories.
Hmm.
He said, I want you to go back to this 9 or 10-year-old boy. Imagine doing so, of course. Right after this event happened at the gym, I want you to take him to a safe place. And I want you to tell him, you just experienced something very difficult. And you have every right to feel the way that you do. But I want you to know that it is over, that you are loved, and you're going to do some amazing things in life.
That's amazing. To have that conversation. It's like
Right.
having a conversation with your past, huh?
Mm-hmm. Now, once again, when I told myself this in the past, I was like, this is baloney. I can't lie to myself. I don't feel loved. It's not over, and it's still affecting my life. How can I lie like this? But he helped me do this a number of times to the point that I started to disassociate those emotions with those memories. And that is important to everybody. I'm telling you, this goes so deep to the trauma levels, to the everyday life. If we can learn to disassociate by experiencing and releasing these emotions, boom, life is so much different. So what happened to me? What used to be a ghost that haunted me is now an ancestor that I learned from. I still have the hyperhidrosis.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, there you go. I still have the hyperhidrosis, but it doesn't scar me. I don't feel scarred anymore. I feel like just what you said at the beginning. It's part of me, but it doesn't define me. So the
Mm-hmm.
message I share with the world is, guess what? I don't know your specific circumstance, but I'm sure we can relate in how we feel. We have these feelings of shame and uncertainty, and I'm not good enough, and people won't love me. But guess what? It doesn't have to be that way. You are good enough for who you are today,
Yes.
regardless of your history, regardless of what's wrong with your body, regardless of the imperfections. You are
Yes.
good
Yes.
enough and worthy of love. And my goodness, people resonate. They're like, yeah,
Yes.
I needed that. And I start to believe it. Why? Because now I know what I can do. I can start to, anyway, everything else I talk about how to realize your emotions, how to understand and acknowledge, and all that fun stuff.
I love how you mentioned, I mean, the attachment, that in itself. I mean, I always keep this small picture for those who are losing hope in whatever the situation, as you mentioned. And it's a picture of a hand holding onto a rope. And it's like, think of the tug of war type of ropes. And it's the hand is holding it so tight that the hand is bleeding. But a
Mm,
lot of times for you to get release from that pain, you have to let it go. And
mm,
so sometimes we tend to carry and hold on to our emotions so tight that it hurts us, but we can't allow it out of our lives because, as you mentioned, it's a memory, and we're trained that memory is supposed to be a part of us, not necessarily something that happened in the past. And so, how you were mentioning about the ancestry, leave it in the past, but almost as if it belongs to the past, to as an ancestor type of situation versus this is this cloud that's over my head, and no matter for 20 years here you are or here I am. We all have these type of clouds, just kind of keep moving with us. It's like, okay,
mm-hmm.
can you stay in 1995? It just keeps moving. So that's fantastic that you're doing that, because I can see so many people being impacted by not only of course this message that you're sharing, but really you sounds like you have a plan as to what you take them through to help them to let go of this past.